If you are currently working 80 hours a week to be the absolute smartest, like most highly decorated person in your industry, there is a very good chance you are actively destroying the exact thing that makes clients want to hire you.
Yeah, it is. It's the ultimate professional paradox. We spend our entire careers optimizing for a metric that the people paying us actually care very little about.
Right. And that is exactly what we're tearing into today. So, welcome to the deep dive. We are unpacking a genuinely fascinating document today called Trophy to Atrophy.
It's a great read.
It really is. And our mission today is to completely dismantle a core, almost, universally held belief that drives virtually every professional industry on earth.
Which is a pretty big claim. I mean, when you think about it.
It's massive. But, okay, let's unpack this. There is a very clean, comforting story we are all told from day one of our careers, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's this idea that more training builds more expertise, and more expertise builds more trust.
Yeah, it's the foundational logic behind every expensive certification,
Yeah.
every corporate leaderboard you see, and, every late-night hustle culture post online.
The grind. Yeah.
Exactly. It's an input-output model. Know more, win more, and trust will naturally follow in your wake.
But the central thesis of Trophy to Atrophy makes this really bold, frankly terrifying claim for anyone who has spent a decade padding their resume.
It argues that this equation isn't just, like, slightly off.
Yeah.
It is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And believing it actively costs you the loyalty you are desperately trying to build.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to hire someone to handle a massive high-stakes situation, why wouldn't that comforting equation hold up?
Right.
Like, if we look at the real world, why does the idea that expertise equals trust just, break down so spectacularly?
It comes down to how the human brain actually evaluates risk and safety. Because when you look at the data, and there are survey after survey on client trust, raw competence rarely makes the top of the list.
Which sounds completely absurd to a highly trained professional.
Right, it feels wrong. But look at what clients actually prioritize, especially in major financial or, life-altering decisions. They value character. They value honesty. They value the overwhelming sense that this person genuinely has their back.
Okay, I have to push back here a little bit.
Sure.
Because this sounds a little bit like a self-help fantasy. Let's take a real ruthless scenario.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine a CEO executing a multi-million-dollar corporate merger. That 2% edge in market knowledge, that equals millions of dollars in revenue.
Right, the stakes are huge.
So are you telling me a board of directors is going to hire the nice guy over the ruthless, hyper-competent closer who makes them more money? Because that just doesn't track for me.
No, it's a great pushback.
Yeah.
But you have to look at who is actually sitting at that table. In extreme high-stakes environments, everyone in the room is already in the 99th percentile of competence.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the differentiator isn't 99.1% versus 99.2%. It's threat assessment.
Wait, threat assessment. What do you mean?
Yes. What's fascinating here is how the human brain processes expertise to save caloric energy.
Save energy.
Yeah, evaluating someone's granular technical competence requires immense cognitive load. So the brain uses heuristics.
Like shortcuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A degree from a top university, a license to track record.
Yeah.
It uses those to quickly check the competent box.
All right. Okay.
And once that baseline is met, the brain immediately shifts its computing power to assessing a much more primal threat.
Like, is this person safe?
Yes. Is this person safe? Are they hiding a devastating error out of ego? Will they tell me the inconvenient truth when the merger is falling apart?
Wow.
Past a certain baseline, your marginal edge in expertise is completely invisible to the client.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's less about a steering wheel and more like a commercial airline pilot.
How so?
Well, when you board a flight, you don't stand at the cockpit door demanding to see the pilot's simulator scores, right?
You'd get kicked off the flight.
Exactly. You don't ask if they know 2% more about aerodynamics than the co-pilot. You just fundamentally assume the airline vetted their baseline competence.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
You don't care about their data retention.
No, you care if they sound panicked over the intercom when there's turbulence. You just want to know you're safe.
Exactly. The client cannot perceive your 2% edge in data retention because they aren't experts themselves. They have no metric to measure it.
Right.
But they can feel character. They can feel if you are listening to them or just, waiting for your turn to speak.
Wow.
Nobody stays loyal over a microscopic data advantage. They choose the person they believe will protect them.
But because that 2% edge is invisible to the client, The professional panics. I mean, think about it. If you spent 10 years acquiring that edge and a client can't even see it, you feel this desperate need to make the invisible visible.
You feel like you're not getting credit for
Yeah,
it.
right. Which means you have to force them to see it.
Which brings us to the namesake of the document, the trophy.
The trophy, yeah.
The physical embodiment of an invisible edge.
You walk into any high-end agency, any law firm, any corporate office, and what is the first thing you see in the lobby?
The glass cabinet.
It's the glass cabinet, the polished wooden plaques, top biller, rookie of the year, #1 office in the region.
Yep, it's everywhere.
They are literal monuments to survival of the fittest. They are screaming at the client, look at how competent we are, we have the data advantage.
But while all that noise is happening in the lobby, there is a much quieter, much more tragic biological shift happening behind the scenes.
Wait, biological shift?
Yeah, while the professional is hyper-focused on winning the next award to prove their invisible edge, the interlogical pathways required for empathy are actually being neglected.
Oh, wow.
The text refers to this as the muscle of genuine connection. And just like any muscle that goes unused, it begins to waste away.
So what does this all mean for us? Like, if you are on that grind, if you are letting the dopamine loop of winning replace the deeper satisfaction of human connection.
Which so many people are.
Yeah, does training to win actively make us worse at being human?
If done in isolation, absolutely. And the mechanism of how this happens is really insidious.
Insidious how?
Because atrophy doesn't announce itself. You don't wake up one morning and feel a sharp pain in your chest where your empathy used to be.
Right, it's not a heart attack.
No, it happens silently. It happens in the widening gap between the version of you that performs for the crowd and the version of you that is actually sitting there.
The performer versus the person.
Right. You are constantly training yourself to broadcast status, which means you stop training yourself to be known.
Wow.
And your capacity for connection doesn't just sit patiently in a storage locker waiting for you to retire. It actively degrades.
And that creates a terrifying vulnerability, doesn't it? Because as that connection muscle weakens, you start to realize you don't actually know how to relate to your clients as human beings anymore.
You've lost the vocabulary for it.
Yeah, there is a hollowness there.
Yeah.
So you overcompensate. You have to build a defense mechanism to hide the fact that the real you is atrophying.
You construct an impenetrable mask of expertise.
Exactly. Somewhere along the line, the professional world decided to teach its people that character and flaws were liabilities.
Yes. Having a bad day is a liability.
Admitting you don't know the answer to a market question is a liability. So the industry said, hide it. Competence is the only currency worth showing.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. It actually makes me think of an over-engineered customer service chatbot.
Oh, I hate those.
We all do. The company builds this AI mask that gives you perfect, error-free answers every single time. It never gets tired. It never doubts its own policy.
Right.
But the moment you, the customer, have a nuanced, highly emotional problem, say your flight is canceled and you're missing a wedding, what do?
You yell at it.
You start desperately hammering the 0 key on your phone, begging to speak to a flawed, real human being.
Yeah, exactly.
The chatbot is perfectly competent, but it is entirely unrelatable.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. You don't care that the AI can calculate a refund to the 4th decimal in a millisecond? You need a human voice to sigh, validate your frustration, and say, you know, this is a mess. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, you just need someone to get it.
Exactly. When a professional wears an always-on mask of perfection, they become the chatbot. And a chatbot cannot be trusted.
Because human beings are biologically wired to assess safety through authentic micro-emotional signals, right?
Yes. When someone presents a flawless, uncracking mask, our subconscious alarm bells ring. We don't fall in love with expertise itself.
We fall in love with the humanity that the expertise serves.
Right. If you insist on being defined purely by how perfectly you execute a task, you accidentally strip away the single ingredient that made a client want to hire you as a person in the first place.
Which brings up a phenomenal point from the text, quoting Brené Brown, vulnerability is the birthplace of connection.
Such a powerful quote.
It is. And if you are operating as the flawless chatbot, there is zero vulnerability.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the emotional result of removing vulnerability from a business relationship. The connection disappears. And what replaces it isn't anger. It's apathy.
Apathy.
Yeah.
Just total indifference.
Right. A potential client can walk into your lobby, look at your massive, gleaming trophy cabinet, genuinely respect your hustle, and still feel absolutely nothing for you as a person.
Wow.
Respect doesn't buy loyalty. Trust does. You can respect a machine for working perfectly, but you are not loyal to it.
No, you're not.
You will swap it out the second a faster machine is built.
That completely reframes the value of the trophy cabinet. It buys respect, but it leaves you totally replaceable.
Totally replaceable.
And if physical trophies and face-to-face masks create apathy in a local office, scaling this behavior onto the internet turns it into a global crisis. We have to talk about the highlight reel problem.
Oh, social media is the ultimate accelerant for this exact type of professional atrophy.
Because it takes the desire to prove that invisible 2% edge and it gives it an algorithm.
Yeah, monetizes it.
Right. Social media didn't invent the human ego, but it gamified it. Every single post, every story, every caption is a quiet audition for the title of best.
And we have to look at the parasocial mechanics of how those platforms operate.
What do you mean?
Well, the algorithm disproportionately rewards the aesthetic of success while punishing the friction of authenticity.
Wow, yes.
It literally rewires a professional's dopamine system to value broadcasting their status over actually connecting with their audience.
So it's an addiction to the mask.
Exactly. The performance of perfection becomes a 24-hour-a-day mandate.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me.
Okay.
If your entire feed is curated to be exclusively wins, just close this massive deal, just one top agent crushing my 5 a.m. workout, doesn't it eventually cease to look like a human life?
Totally.
Like when a client's brain processes a feed of pure, unadulterated wins, doesn't it just categorize it as a corporate press release?
It absolutely does. It becomes a wall of commercials, essentially.
Right.
And what is our modern psychological relationship with advertisements?
We hate them. We block them.
We resent them. We scroll past them as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Constant performance leaves absolutely no room for the friction that proves something is real. The text calls these believable cracks.
Believable cracks. I love that phrasing. Like the friction that proves a piece of furniture is made of real wood instead of plastic veneer.
That's a great way to think of it.
It actually reminds me of kintsugi, that Japanese art where they repair broken pottery with gold lacquer.
Oh, yeah, where the cracks become the feature.
Exactly. They don't hide the cracks, they highlight them because the history of the break is what makes the object valuable and unique.
Precisely. A believable crack is a moment of uncertainty. It's a lesson learned the hard way, an admission of a mistake.
It's being human.
Yeah. And the brutal irony here is inescapable. The more polished and flawless we try to appear online, the less anyone believes a single word we say.
Wow.
We think we are building an infallible brand, but trust can only grow from authentic connection.
So you have all these highly driven professionals scrolling endlessly on their phones, watching everyone else's fake perfection, trying to match it with their own fake perfection.
It's a vicious cycle.
And the result is this crushing algorithmic isolation. You end up surrounded by an audience of thousands of followers, but you are truly known by almost none of them.
It's lonely.
Extremely lonely. The performer has thousands of fans, but the real person is sitting backstage, completely alone, their connection muscle atrophying to dust.
It is a devastating critique of the modern professional landscape. We are optimizing ourselves for an algorithm rather than optimizing ourselves for human trust.
Okay, so if the comforting math equation is broken, if the masks, the glass trophies, and the digital highlight reels are actually isolating us and costing us loyalty, what on earth are we supposed to do with our hard-earned competence?
Right. Do we just ditch it?
Yeah, are we supposed to just throw our expertise in the garbage?
Absolutely not. And this is a crucial caveat in the text. Nobody is arguing that you should dress up incompetence as authenticity.
Like, hey, I completely botched your retirement fund, but at least I'm being super vulnerable about it.
Exactly. That doesn't work. The commercial pilot still needs to know how to land the plane. Competence is non-negotiable.
But this raises an important question then. How do we actually balance the two?
It's tricky.
If competence is required, but it isolates us when it stands alone, what is the mechanical fix?
The fix requires a fundamental shift in how we view our own skills. Competence was never meant to stand alone. It is a tool, not an identity.
A tool, not an identity. That's good.
An industry that rewards competence in total isolation is essentially training its brightest, most capable people to disappear completely behind their own results.
They just become their numbers.
Right. The competence is what gets you in the room, but the vulnerability is what gets you the relationship.
Wow.
We have to stop viewing character, doubt, and messiness as liabilities that get in the way of the work.
And start viewing them as what?
as the very vehicle that allows the work to matter to anyone in the first place.
So it's really about integrating the performer and the person back together. You strip it all back. You take down the awards. You ignore the industry rankings.
It's liberating when you think about it.
It is. You stop treating your life like a scrollable press release. And when you clear all that smoke away, you are left with this incredibly powerful realization
Which is?
that there is really only one attribute we have ever truly been searching for when we look into the eyes of another human being.
Yeah.
Whether it's a spouse, a friend, or someone managing our life savings, the only thing our brain is desperately trying to figure out is, can I trust you and can you trust me?
And everything else, the plaques, the follower counts, the 2% market edge, everything else is just decoration.
Decoration. That hits incredibly hard. Just decoration.
It really reorients your entire perspective on what a career should look like.
It does. So let's take a look at the journey we've been on today. We started by challenging a deeply ingrained equation that told us expertise equals trust.
The input-output myth.
Right. And we saw how the human brain actually processes risk, realizing that past a certain baseline, extreme competence is invisible.
It's all about threat assessment.
Exactly. Then we explored how the panic of that invisible edge leads us to build literal monuments to our own survival, like the trophy cabinet, while the vital muscle of human connection quietly atrophies.
The silent decay.
Yeah. We saw how this forces us to operate like flawless, unrelatable chatbots, protecting us from criticism, but entirely blocking the vulnerability required for genuine loyalty.
You end up respected, but totally replaceable.
And finally, we saw how scaling that mask onto social media turns our lives into easily ignored advertisements, leaving us surrounded by audiences but deeply alone.
It really is a complete paradigm shift. We have to move away from constantly trying to prove we are the smartest in the room and move toward proving we are the safest, most authentic person in the room.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, we spent this deep dive talking about how polished perfection makes you look like an advertisement and how you need those believable cracks to show your humanity and rewire that trust connection.
Yeah.
So here's a thought for you to take with you today. As you prepare for your next big client meeting or, draft your next social media post, or even just sit down with a colleague, ask yourself this. What is one believable crack that you can intentionally share?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. It could be a moment of real uncertainty, a failure that taught you a hard lesson, or even just a genuine question you admit you do not have the answer to. How can you prove to the person sitting across from you that there is a real beating heart behind all that polished expertise?
It is a massive challenge to take the mask off, even just an inch,
Yeah.
because it goes against literally everything the industry taught you.
Just an inch.
Yeah.
And see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the comforting equations, keep looking for those believable cracks, and most importantly, keep digging deeper. We'll catch you on the next one.